Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life, and I just completed my trip to San Antonio there and back. And I had some interesting findings that I wanted to share with you guys over a series of videos. So this first one I'm able to make because now I can confirm it because I spotted the same areas and the same thing there and back on all the devices in the vehicle. So I mapped it out roughly, and this is not all the same stretch. This is on different parts of the stretch. But I was roaming on AT&T's network for about 73 miles total, and that's their LTE network. Now, that is capped, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit later in this video. So about roughly estimate about 73 miles of roaming on AT&T's LTE network. Now, this is forced roaming. And what do I mean by forced? So in the menu, at least on the iPhone, there is a dedicated button that you can select data roaming. You can turn it on and off. It's off by default. So I noticed that mine was off and I was still roaming. So that's why I have this picture up here on the screen. So as you can see, the top left, this is a T-Mobile plan. But as you see, the network selection is AT&T. Now, what happens with the network selection? You pop in your SIM with your carrier of choice. The network selection is automatically selected per the network that you're on. Yes, you can turn it off and you can manually select another network, but that just doesn't work. That worked only with the Sprint T-Mobile because T-Mobile was allowing access to the Sprint network in certain areas. So you were able to manually force that network. But you can't manually force to roam onto another network unless the two providers allow for that to happen. So that's why I'm saying this is a forced roaming in any of T-Mobile's dead zones. So I saw this over the last several weeks on their coverage maps that a lot of their dead zones now show some kind of roaming. It's LTE. It's either US Cellular or AT&T, and I can now confirm that that is the case. I saw this. I experienced it for myself. I was able to confirm on an iPhone SE, an iPhone 11, and an Android in the vehicle. They all started roaming on AT&T's network. Now, the roaming part of it, it was capped. What was the experience like? Texting fine, calling fine, music playback on Apple Music was a go. Streaming, social media was a bust. There just wasn't enough throughput on that capped roaming to do anything. But it takes care of the basics, right? So T-Mobile is buying themselves time, using a Band-Aid, whatever you want to call it. But in those areas that they don't cover natively, that also means there's no Sprint keep sites. So the reason I say it's interesting because the reason I know now that they cover it is because last time when I traveled to Dallas, if you've been on the channel for a while, the first part of the stretch was on I-10 before I crossed over into I-20. And those areas were previously like no service. There were a few of them on the initial first part until I got over onto the I-20. And that was just like no service at all. Now, the switchover happens, you drop to no service on T-Mobile. There's about a 2 to 3 second delay and you're on AT&T's LTE network. Now, if you're on a native T-Mobile call, voice over LTE call, and you reach that area, you're going to drop that call and then you're going to have to place that call again as you transition to the LTE network of AT&T's roaming. So it's not a smooth transition. You're going to have drop calls if you are on a call while driving that stretch. But I just wanted to point that out. Let me know if you think that's acceptable or unacceptable. Remember, the speeches were the 5G leader. We have the largest 5G network. But again, what good is that if you have that experience of dropping off to LTE roaming on AT&T for 73 miles? Some of the younger kids in the vehicle were asking how how am I on the T-Mobile plan, but it shows AT&T on my phone? They didn't understand the roaming part of it. That's when I knew right then and there, okay, they just transitioned to roaming. So, I explained that to them, but that's what they were telling me. That was their response in the vehicle. So let me know what you think about this first part of the video. Again, like I said, for many, probably not a big deal. I was still able to listen to the music. I knew I was on AT&T, but of course I was the one doing the driving. So I wasn't able to use my phone like I normally would in a house or sitting down somewhere. So it didn't matter too much. If I would have had buffering and music cutouts, and then I would have been like, okay, this is not good. But that wasn't the case. There was enough throughput. It was kilobytes, but there was enough throughput to run the music. So again, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel. Follow the social media outlets for more updates and interactions. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.